straight and centered on your mule's backs. If that saddle starts to lean a little bit, then it'll lean more and more. And before you know it, you're going to be riding on the wrong side of your mule. So you'll need to make sure it stays centered. So how you're going to do that, you're going to glance down every once in a while. Make sure your belly button, your saddle horn, and your mule's neck are all in a nice straight line. But if you're going along and you start to notice that saddle is leaning off one way or another, say if it's leaning way off to the left like that, it will be y'all's job to straighten it back out. You're just going to grab onto that saddle horn right in front of you, put weight in your opposite strap and do a big old shift. Use your body weight to straighten that saddle back to the center. If y'all cannot get it straightened back out on y'all's own, just holler out to your guide, Tex, or Peyton. They'll come over to you. They'll help you straighten it back out. Now y'all's feet will be in those nice fancy tapadero stirrups for the duration of the ride. It's important that y'all are putting even pressure in those stirrups. Think about elongating your leg, pushing your heel downward, and pointing your toe upward. The goal is to get about 10 to 15% of y'all's body weight in those stirrups. That'll help you brace. So if your mule were to trip, you don't go tumbling over the front. Now y'all be holding on to the reins up top. The very top of the reins, there is a loop. Just below that loop, there is a knot. You're going to be holding on to that loop in your non-dominant hand, just like you're holding on to an ice cream cone. Never put your fingers, never put your hand through that loop. Just hold on to the outside of it, just above that knot. Then, as y'all are riding along, that knot will be resting down on the back of your mule's neck. So that right there is what I want y'all to look like about 90% of the ride today. But you will need to do some steering along the trail. If you need to go to the right, you'll just pick up the reins with your left hand. With your right hand, you'll reach down on the right rein and pull outward to the right, just like that. To go to the left, you just swap hands up top, reach down with the left hand on the left rein, pull out to the left, just like that. So very simple, folks. Y'all are just pulling the mule in the direction you want them to go, right for right, left for left. Then if you need that mule to stop or to slow down, just pick up on that rein, pull it straight back up to your chest. Once your mule has come to a complete stop, you'll release the pressure and put the knot back down on the neck. Now these mules, like I said, they are our most experienced mules. For the most part, you will just keep your hand nice and low on their neck, and they'll follow each other along the trail in a nice, straight, single file line. But y'all, please do not let those mules eat, and please do not let them walk you into any trees. I know they all have those muzzles on their mouths, but they can and will still be trying to eat through them. Also, some of these mules might try to walk into trees and maybe rub their riders on trees on purpose. It's y'all's responsibility as the rider to make sure that your mule does not eat and to make sure that they do not walk you into any trees. If your mule is starting to wander off for whatever reason, you're just going to reach down, turn them back towards the trail and away from any trees or snacks. Then y'all's guides, Tex and Peyton, are going to be riding in front of y'all today, and y'all be following behind in a nose-to-tail fashion at a walk. Y'all's guides will get to stops along the trail. So they're going to stop their mule and turn them outward to face the canyon. Then, as y'all come up from behind, y'all do the exact same thing. You'll get your mule nice and close to the mule in front of you. You'll stop them and turn them outward to face the canyon. We need the mules nice and close together today, just like they are here. Y'all should be strap to strap and elbow to elbow with y'all's neighbors. We also need those mules facing outward towards the canyon so they can see where they do not want to go. Then, once you got your mule stopped and turned out to face the canyon, y'all's guides will tell y'all to put the mules in the park position. So what that means, y'all are going to take that loop that y'all been hanging on to up there, y'all are going to place it right over the saddle horn. So what that does is it lets your mule know that he's in park, he's not supposed to be moving around at all. It also frees up y'all's hands. So those waters y'all have around your shoulders and around your necks, we're going to take them from you here in a minute. We'll tie them up around your mule's saddle horn. So when you get to those stops, you put your mule in park and your hands are free. You can just reach down, pick up that water, squeeze a little bit into y'all's mouths, set it back down, take out your phone, take some pictures. All right, now do y'all have any questions about how to steer or operate the mules? 20 expert mule riders? Yeah? Good. All right, folks, well, there is one thing that y'all do not want to do out here today, and that is just to drop y'all's reins. If y'all were to drop y'all's reins over time, they're going to work up towards those big old mule ears, and your mule's going to know that you don't have control over him. So he's going to put his head on the ground, and he's going to start eating just like that. Kind of what that looks like. When his head's on the ground, those reins can also be dragging on the ground right by his front feet. Worst case scenario, your mule could take a step to those reins and get a little tangled up, and that could startle him, and y'all might find yourselves in a rodeo on the side of the Grand Canyon, okay? Y'all didn't sign up for rodeo, and we're trying to keep y'all safe today. So if y'all do happen to drop those reins, just holler out to your guide, Tex or Peyton. They'll come over to you. They'll help you retrieve those reins.
Tex, help! I dropped my reins.
I'll save you, Peyton. Here you go.
I am saved.
Like that. Be nice and loud so Wrangler can hear you from wherever they are. Those reins will either be in your hand or you have stopped and put your mule in the park position. Never just set those reins down, okay? Then, after 2 hours, y'all come on back into the corral and y'all line the mules up at the railing again. And y'all just hang out and wait for either myself or Wrangler to come by and help y'all down. Now, chances are y'all be a little sore and a little stiff, so we'll have you get down nice and slowly in a way that you'll land with both feet on the ground. So we're gonna have you stand up and lean forward in that saddle. You'll swing your right leg around behind you. You'll put your belly in the saddle, kick your left foot out of that stirrup, and slide down nice and gently, landing with both feet on the ground, just like that, nice and easy. Alrighty, thank you, Peyton. Thank you sometimes. All right, folks, just a few more things to go over before we get y'all up on those mules' backs. Now, these mules are all their own unique individuals, and they all have their own unique walking pace. Some of them are a little more slow than others, and we might have some gaps forming in groups today. We need to keep gaps to a minimum. We need y'all nice and close together at a walking pace. If gaps in the group get to be too big, then the mules in the back might try to trot or even run to catch up, and that's when you might find yourself bouncing off the side of your mule. We need to avoid that happening, so nice and close together at a walking pace. So, y'all are each going to have one of these tools. This is a handy dandy Grand Canyon Mule Motivator. It's how we keep the mules nice and close together today. Y'all will each have a motivator. It'll go on your dominant wrist or your strong arm. Then there's a little bead that slides up and down. Y'all will just slide that little bead up so it's nice and secured against your wrist. As you're walking along, you can just let that motivator dangle. You don't need to hold on to it the whole time. But as you start to notice a gap forming between yourself and the mule in front of you, gap of about 6 feet or so, it is time to use that motivator. You're just gonna reach down, grab that knot that's closest to your wrist, so you want all that extra length there, and you're gonna do a big backhand swing and motivate that mule right on the rear end, just like that. So never on the shoulder, never on the neck, never on the head, just right behind you, right on that fleshy rear end, as many times as it takes to get your mule caught back up to the mule in front of you. And I promise, y'all cannot hurt the mules with these things. No offense, but y'all are not strong enough to. It's just gonna be that popping sound that'll get their attention and get them caught back up. All right, then y'all's guides, Tex and Peyton, are gonna be talking to y'all each of the stops. They'll be giving y'all information about the canyon and about the mules. So if y'all have any questions, please ask, okay? Y'all's guides are here for y'all. If y'all like y'all's guides, you like what they're doing for you, you want to show your appreciation, the best way to do that is monetarily. Our guides do accept tips. You can always hand them cash after the ride. Or if you would like to leave a tip, but you don't have the means to do so right this second, you can always return to that Bright Angels activities desk we're all signed in at. Let the attendant know you want to leave behind a tip. They'll give you an envelope. You just write your guide's name on the outside of the envelope, put gratuities inside, and it'll get to them in a few days' time. So you can also ask if they have Cash App, Venmo, Zelle. They're trendy. They have smartphones, y'all. And then one last thing before we get y'all up in the saddle. Once y'all are on the mule's back and you cross that road and you get on the trail, there are no refunds. So if anybody is having second thoughts about the ride, please figure it out before y'all leave the corral. That way we can get you off the mule faster, get you back to the village, and get a refund worked up. Now, do y'all have any questions about anything that I failed to cover, or do y'all need me to elaborate on anything? We're feeling good, confident, ready to go? Yeah, good. All right, I'll hand this to you. Yeah. Yes. All right, my group one, y'all are gonna come on in here. Y'all grab up a motivator on y'all's way in. Make sure it gets on your dominant wrist.
straight like Ike here. You can bend your knees. Just push your heels forward, toes up. That looks more comfortable, yeah. And lastly, if your mule gets 6 feet in front of them, use that motivator as many times as you need. Right on their butt. You should do it hard enough to hear a smack out of those poppers, okay? You're not hurting your mule. I know some people are concerned about that. Mules are tough animals. Over the centuries of kicking and biting each other, they've evolved some really thick skin. And they're also pretty stubborn, believe it or not. So if you need to turn your mule or if you need to motivate your mule, you've got to do it with some force, with some authority, because if you don't, they'll be glad to ignore you, okay? You are the boss of your mules today. You're the pilots, not the passengers, okay? So you be in charge of these beautiful beasts. All right, we're gonna get moving. We're gonna ride about 7 more minutes and then we'll come to our next stop. We can talk about anything y'all want to at that next stop. So y'all start thinking about if there's something you're interested in. We can cover that at the next stop. I love questions in case y'all love answers. Good deal. Okay, your rein should be in park, everybody. Make sure your saddle horn is nice and straight. Once you've done that, get you some water. Anybody come up with something they'd like to talk about here? Any questions?
How far across to the other side?
Oh, that's a good question. So, rim to rim, the average is about 10 miles across. That's pretty far. The widest spot is 18 miles across. So if they rub on each other, Delilah, you just want to pull the other rein. Give them some space. Okay. Don't let the mules rub on each other. So average is 10 miles, widest is 18 miles. Top to bottom, it's about 5,000 feet difference. That's 1 vertical mile. So a lot of people think that, well, let's take a survey. This will be fun. Raise your hand if you think that as you go down to the bottom of the canyon, your options are hotter or colder. So who thinks it gets colder as you go down? Who thinks it gets hotter when you go down? Oh, y'all are right. Okay, it does get warmer. A lot of people think it's the opposite for some reason. I guess hot air rises inside, but outside, as you descend every 1,000 feet, it gets 4 or 5 degrees warmer. So down at Phantom Ranch in the heat of the summer, it can get up to 120 degrees down there. It's usually the same temperature as it is in Phoenix down at Phantom Ranch. Has anybody been to the Statue of Liberty? You can fit 3.5 of them on top of each other. Or I'm not the Statue of Liberty, even bigger. The Empire State Building. 3.5 of them. So it's pretty neat, pretty tall.
Do people live down there?
Great question. Do people live down in the canyon? So there is one tribe, just one of the 11 here, that still lives down in the canyon, and that's the Havasupai tribe. If you drive about 2.5 hours to our west, you'll find yourself, if you hike down, into Supai Village, and they do still live in the canyon. There are some places down at Phantom Ranch where there's employees down there, and they live down there temporarily, but they get some days off and they can hike up. And the park rangers, there's ranger stations in the canyon, and they stay down there 6 days on. They're on call 24/7, and then they get 8 days off. So there are some people who live there, which is pretty neat. Has anybody been in the canyon? Not yet? Okay. Well, if you enjoy 2 hours in the saddle, come back when our ride to Phantom Ranch reopens in the summer. That's an amazing ride. That's 5 hours down the Bright Angel Trail on day 1. Then you stay at Phantom Ranch in your own private cabin. And the second day, we take you out the South Kaibab Trail, and it's about 5.5 hours. But that's the reason why I work here. That ride is amazing. And once you get down by the river, down at the bottom of the canyon, it's like a whole other world. You just can't imagine it. It's so different from what's up here on the rim, or what you can see. So what we'll do is if y'all keep your mules right there, it might be hard, I don't know. If they try to follow me, just pull back on the reins. And I'll just approach them slowly and see which way they want to go. That way if they scare a mule, it's just my mule. Okay?
Okay.
And once they're cleared out, then I'll have y'all come follow me.
Okay. Come on. Come on.
You are a very good horse. Mule.
There's also two big males.
Oh, I see him.
Go to the right. To the right. There you go.
Whoa.
Back, your turn.
Wow. Oh no.
Oh no.
Look at all of them.
No.
Okay, gang.
No, those are big one sheep. Oh, the other one.
No. You know what? Hold on. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. What I'm going to have y'all do is to come follow me, but be ready to turn your mule or to stop them, okay? All right. Moving, Sahara. Come on my way. Just hold this direction. Boy, that's a lot of them.
Look at that.
Let's get them all on.
Yeah, Dolly just don't come home.
Here we get to talk all about mules till group 2 shows up. So, how do you make a mule? Do y'all know?
Horse and donkey. Horse and
A
donkey.
horse and a donkey is correct. Which one needs to be the mother to get a mule?
Horse.
Horse is correct, yes. If you swap the parents, you get a different hybrid animal that's called a henny, and they're not as good as horses. Also, just make sure your horn is centered on your mule's mane real quick. Now, mules have an odd number of chromosomes. Sorry, Peyton, can you repeat? We usually refer to that as Riverview, but yes, I copied. Okay, that group should be here in about 5 minutes. So because horses and donkeys have a different number of chromosomes, mules wind up with 63. And because they have an odd number, that makes them sterile animals. So mules cannot reproduce. They're still male and female, they just can't make a baby out of it. So the males are called Johns, the females are called Mollies. You can park him like that. That way he can't try to eat. Johns and Mollies. Now they're better than horses in a lot of different ways. The biggest is their sense of self-preservation. Horses are kind of people pleasers. They're kind of dumb. If you ask them to jump off the edge of the Grand Canyon and they really, really love you, they might say, why not? Mules will not. If they love you, they will still tell you absolutely not. They'll say, if you want to jump that way, go ahead. I will walk around and I will meet you down there. Because mules are not dumb. There's no suicidal mules. That animal is just never born. That's the nature of the mule. Their safety is their #1 priority in life. So they're going to keep us safe since we're in the saddle on top of them too. That's why we love them so much. They also, no, we do not kick each other. Let's get your butt straightened out. Get your butt straightened out. There you go. We don't kick our friends. So they're got a much better sense of self-preservation. Their eyes are wider on their face, thanks to their donkey hacks. So have you heard, don't walk behind a horse, they might kick you?
Yeah.
That's true, because they can't see you. They have a blind spot back there. Mules have wider eyes. They can see almost all the way around. So if you get kicked by a horse, could have been on accident. If you get kicked by a mule, they could see you, and that means they were aiming for you. And this mule, Trailblazer, this morning she decided to kick at me in my direction. She didn't hit me, thank goodness. But it's not because she missed. It's because she wanted to give me a warning. They do that too. They got really good aim. If they wanted to kick you, they would have kicked you. They also, there's a saying, horses walk with their heads high with pride, whereas mules walk with their heads low with intelligence. They'll study the trail more carefully than a horse. Horses just kind of step wherever and hope for the best. Mules, though, they will carefully study the trail and walk on the smoothest path. You can park her like that. So they're more sure-footed animals. They've also got big, gigantic, beautiful ears. That's their ear conditioning. It keeps them cooler because they got blood vessels in those ears. Just how elephants can cool themselves off with their ears, mules can do the same thing, so they can keep themselves cooler in the summer months. Is someone over there?
He's listening to you. I mean, the mule, your
Oh.
mule is listening to you.
Oh, you like my stories? Yeah. So, we roach their manes. Maybe you noticed they don't have manes. Every 6 weeks, they go to our farrier, and she trims the hooves, puts on new horseshoes, and roaches the mane. And that way, any mule with a taller mane, like 1 inch or so, that means they need to go to the farrier pretty soon to get their shoes redone. So that serves a purpose. Are they being pretty, well, I shouldn't even ask that today. I was gonna ask, are they being pretty well behaved for you today? But they're all eating on you. But besides that, I hope you're enjoying them. I grew up riding quarter horses, but I love our mules here, and I hope you're enjoying them too.
Now, you guys do this all year long, like
Yeah.
even when it's like 100
Yeah.
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 And they handle it well. Huh?
They handle it really, really well, yes.
Don't listen to her. This is her first time ever riding a mule.
Yeah. It's my first day.